deemed non-releasable, then we help them by giving them a long-term home right here at SeaWorld San Antonio. If you look right here, you'll see Gilly and Donley. Gilly and Donley are just two products and two examples of our rescue partnership going full swing. Gilly right there is 22 years old. He's healthy, he's thriving. But when he was rescued, get this, only a week old. Caught in a gill net off the coast of Texas. Now, gill net are very wide-holed nets with very, very thin microfilament. It's meant for fish to swim into and get their up onto the shoreline. Now, that gill net takes a lot of tolls on other animals like dolphins, sharks, whales, birds, pinnipeds. All over the world, these animals are being affected by the gill net. Well, Gilly was rescued at just about a week old. He was brought to the Texas Marine Mammal Stranding Network. And you know what happened then? He was deemed non-releasable. So get this, in 1994, June of 1994, he was put on a Coast Guard Falcon jet and brought right here to SeaWorld San Antonio in a small kiddie pool. That's how the Coast Guard transported him. Got him to our large rescue and rehabilitation facilities here, and it was a milestone. That animal right there, Gilly, was the very first rescued, rehabilitated, and given a second chance at life dolphin right here at SeaWorld San Antonio. 22 years ago, can you believe that? If you were here over the summer, you might have even seen Gilly at our Discovery Point area, where guests get into the water, get up close, nose to bottlenose with these dolphins. Gilly was one of those. Now, dolphins like Gilly that are deemed non-releasable are usually deemed non-releasable by the National Marine Fisheries Service. They say that this animal is too young, too injured, needs long-term care. And in Gilly's case, being a week old, he needed to be fed every 2 hours. Now, what SeaWorld didn't have at the time, they do now, SeaWorld has a formula, a dolphin formula. It's almost like formula mothers can give to babies, a dolphin milk formula. We developed that on that very dolphin right there, on Gilly. Because of Gilly's rescue rehabilitation, the research that we learned over the years has helped animals like Donley, who's right next to him, right there with Lauren, helping small animals in need get their nourishment and their development right here at SeaWorld. Gilly is a trailblazer. Now, next to Gilly is Donley. Donley rescued off of on Mustang Island, which is in Port Aransas, Texas, along the Texas Gulf Coast. Now, Donley was rescued when he was about 8 months old. He was under the care of the Texas Marine Mammal Stranding Network for about 4 months. And after he was deemed non-releasable, they looked for that long-term home. And again, SeaWorld answered the call to give this animal a second chance at life and make sure that all his long-term needs were protected. Now, some of you I know on Facebook Live right now are asking about Zip. We'll show you him in just a little bit. But Donley here, needing that long-term care is also learning socialization skills from Gilly. That's one of the big reasons that dolphins are deemed non-releasable. They're too young to learn how to hunt on their own, and they're also too young to learn how to be a dolphin, how to socialize and be a dolphin. So having Gilly in the pool with him and interacting with the other members of our pod here at SeaWorld San Antonio can teach Donley how to be a dolphin, how to swim around like a dolphin, move around like a dolphin, do dolphin things. Now, you'll notice Lauren and Kyle are doing a couple different things. Kyle's playing with Gilly right now, and Lauren's doing a lot of tactile reinforcement. These dolphins lose 1 to 2 layers of skin each and every day. By rubbing them down, getting that tactile on their flukes, it helps to alleviate that skin sloughing off of their body. Also, you might have noticed earlier, Lauren and Kyle had these animals rolled upside down and were holding their tail flukes. That allows us to take preventative action, preventative steps to make sure that their health is long-term and these animals are healthy and thriving over the long term. You see, we practice preventative medicine, which means when they're healthy, we know exactly what they look like, how their levels look, and all things like that. And if they start to seem like they're maybe getting a little sick or maybe they need care, we get a rescue dolphin that doesn't have the same levels. We can compare that to animals we know are doing fantastic. Now, you might want to know ages. Well, now Donley right there is around 9 years old, 8 to 9 years old. And again, Gilly is 22 years old. Average life expectancy for bottlenose dolphins is around 25 years of age. However, in our parks, we frequently see that age go much, much further than 30 or 40 years because they have great health care and a great team. Speaking of this team, our SeaWorld rescue team is on call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Right now, we're entering the calving season. We're entering the season where strandings could happen. Why is that? The cold snaps. You see me wearing a sweatshirt. The temperature dropped like it did across the United States here in San Antonio. Cold snaps. water temperature changes, and also the calving season. That's when babies are born. And if babies get separated from mom, they go straight to the shoreline. Question is, what happens if you see a dolphin in need? It's simple. Call our friends over at the Texas Marine Mammal Stranding Network. They're on the coast. 600 miles. I'm not talking a 20-mile stretch of beach. They've got 600 miles of Texas Gulf Coast that they have to protect and watch over. And they can be on the scene as quick as possible. If you see a marine mammal stranded here on the state of Texas, call 1-800-9-MAMMAL. That informs the Texas Marine Mammal Stranding Network. Now, what should you do? Well, you should make sure the animal's stabilized. I wouldn't try to return it to the ocean. Actually, don't. Don't try to push it back out. That animal is stranded for a reason. You want to keep pets and other people away from that animal. 1 to 2 people can stay there to make sure the animal's attended. Don't do anything until one of the experts from the SeaWorld or the Texas Marine Mammal Stranding Network have arrived to give you the info. At that point, they'll assess the animal. Speaking of assess, just a few months ago in August, our SeaWorld rescue team went down to South Padre Island. I want you to get this. Get this. There's a dolphin named Tango. Tango was swimming around out in the Gulf, right there in the South Padre Island, taking fish from fishermen, stealing fish. Well, because of that, he was getting microfilament, fishing line, wrapped around his dorsal fin, around his tail flukes, around his body. He wasn't able to come up and take a proper breath. They were a little concerned. They called the Texas Marine Mammal Stranding Network, who called SeaWorld. That rescue boat right there, and our rescue team went down. They tried to get a hold of Tango, tried to get him in to evaluate. He kept slipping away. He kept slipping away. Well, you know what? We called in reinforcements. Our sister park, SeaWorld Orlando, drove from Orlando, Florida, all the way up the Gulf Coast, all the way down to South Padre Island. Together, the Texas Marine Mammal Stranding Network, SeaWorld San Antonio, and SeaWorld Orlando came together, got a hold of Tango, assessed his body. You know how much? Get this, folks. They removed 3 pounds of microfilament and fishing line off of that animal. 3 pounds of it. Now you see this dolphin right here wouldn't be all right swimming with 3 pounds of microfilament on his body. So what that helps these animals to do by releasing it, let them swim normal. That dorsal fin right on top of Donnelly there helps him stabilize. His tail flukes are his powerhouse, his peduncle, help him move to the ocean to find fish. Well, Tango didn't have that ability. But after the team rescued that animal, assessed his health, gave him a long-term antibiotic, removed all of the fishing line, guess what? The goal of the SeaWorld rescue team was accomplished. We released Tango that very day. And Tango has been spotted still out of South Padre Island. And in South Padre Island, he's seen going to those fishermen. But here's where the second part of it comes in. The Texas Marine Mammal Stranding Network, along with visits to SeaWorld, the fishermen are now educated to not feed Tango, to keep people away from feeding wild dolphins and getting that history built up with them. Now, it's very important that people do that. It's very important that we, as a community and as a people here in Texas, around the country, take care of our marine mammals and our marine habitat. Gilly and Donnelly here, but you know what? Hey folks, I want to see some hearts and some likes. You want to see another dolphin? Our newest rescued animal here to SeaWorld San Antonio. Show me some hearts, show me some thumbs up. There they are. Well, guess what? We have a brand new rescued, rehabilitated, and deemed non-releasable dolphin we want to share with you. We want to show you. His name is Zip. So for now, we're going to say bye to Gilly and Donnelly. We're going to head this way. Let me tell you about Zip, everybody. Zip was stranded in September of 2015 in South Padre Island, Texas. Why is that weird? Well, there's a lot of red tide. What red tide is a bloom of algae in the ocean that sucks the oxygen out of the water and can hurt a lot of fish, kill off a lot of marine life. Well, Zip stranded that exact same time. Could have been a factor? Might not. We don't know. Zip, separated from his pod, was found by some good Samaritans on the Texas Gulf Coast. And at that point, they tried to do what I said not to do earlier. They tried to return him back to the ocean. He didn't want to go. He kept coming back up and stranding himself. Here's Zip right here with Kyle. Take a look at that. They then called the Texas Marine Mammal Stranding Network, and that network was able to respond to Zip's rescue. They stabilized him down there on South Padre Island at a facility, but then they had to make sure this animal was going to be healthy for the long term. So little Zip was then transported. By the way, he was estimated about 6 months old when he stranded. He was transported to Galveston from South Padre Island, Texas, which, by the way, everybody, I'm not kidding, that's about a 7.5 to 8 hour drive with this animal. He was stabilized by the team, stayed at the Marine Mammal Stranding Network in Galveston, Texas, where they assessed his health. They noticed he had some respiratory issues. His teeth hadn't even broken through his jawline yet. That's how little he was. His teeth hadn't even come in. After months of rehabilitation, he was deemed non-releasable, not only due to age, but due to some of the long-term health effects they were worried that he would have. SeaWorld San Antonio was consulted many a time on Zip's rehabilitation, and in fact, a lot of our team members actually went down to the Texas Marine Mammal Stranding Network to help with Zip's rehabilitation right there in Galveston. After Zip was deemed non-releasable by the National Marine Fisheries Service and our friends down at the Texas Marine Mammal Stranding Network, all those amazing, dedicated people that work with these animals that have stranded, it was determined that Zip would be moved to SeaWorld San Antonio for long-term care. And look at this little guy now. Look at him with Kyle here. Now, this animal right now is just about 150 pounds. He's gained about 30 pounds since moving here in early summer 2016. And he's healthy, he's thriving, he's starting to interact and socialize with other dolphins here. He's getting big enough to do that. But Kyle right now is pretending to be another member of the pod, rubbing him down, getting him socialized, and also teaching Zip and continuing to teach some of the things he learned at the Texas Marine Mammal Stranding Network, things that are going to better take care of him here in our park and help him over the long term of his life, whether it's to get a voluntary blood sample or to slide up on a scale or just to be relaxed with us right here at SeaWorld. Zip is an amazing example of what Good Samaritans can do when they call 1-800-9-MAMMAL and get the Texas Marine Mammal Stranding Network involved. Now today, our SeaWorld Parks announced a $1.1 million over the next 3-year commitment. This is going to increase the capabilities of the Texas Marine Mammal Stranding Network. This is going to increase their reach and their abilities. We're also going to allocate some more resources to them, help them do more. And Kyle and the rest of the rescue team here at SeaWorld San Antonio, well, they're going to be out in the field helping more and more and more, as much as they can, to that group all along the 600-mile stretch of Texas Gulf Coast. Over 150 dolphins need our help every year, and marine mammals. And SeaWorld and the Texas Marine Mammal Stranding Network are the perfect partner to do that. And we hope that if you want to support SeaWorld and the rescue organizations along the Texas Gulf Coast, we hope you know how that you can. You can visit dolphinrescue.org to learn more about some of the dolphins rescued by the Texas Marine Mammal Stranding Network. Also learn about animals that are living here at SeaWorld San Antonio. You can learn how to volunteer. You can learn how to donate. You can make a difference in the impact of animals out in the natural environment. But also know, friends of Texas and friends around the world, SeaWorld San Antonio, SeaWorld Orlando, SeaWorld San Diego, we are going to be on call every day of the year. Christmas Day, doesn't matter. Cold, doesn't matter. If there's an animal in distress, we will be there. And we're going to help animals as long as there's animals that are in need of help. Our rescue team has rescued over 29,000 animals in our 50-plus year life at our SeaWorld parks. But you know what the best rescue is? The best rescues are the ones avoidable by education at our SeaWorld parks or by talking to the people at the Texas Marine Mammal Stranding Network. If we can do more to help wild dolphins and wild marine mammals, maybe collecting our fishing line, pulling our nets out of the water, if we can do more to help these animals out in the natural environment, we can make leaps and bounds of help for these creatures that don't need to be rescued. Of course, we will always be there. And if you'd like to learn more, please visit SeaWorldCares.com or go to dolphinrescue.org. The Texas Marine Mammal Stranding Network are great friends of ours, great partners, and we hope after today's announcement that we're able to help them do much, much more when it comes to rescuing these amazing creatures. So give us some likes, give us some hearts, share this post, share the huge announcement that we're going to dedicate a lot more to these animals on the Texas Gulf Coast. For now, animal trainer Clay, SeaWorld Ambassador Clay, signing off here at SeaWorld San Antonio. Goodbye, everyone, and happy holidays.